Hey, it's BT with Tales from a Gemini. My guest is Eddie O'Shea. He's a racer from Britain, and he has been selected for the Red Bull Rookies Cup, the British Talent Cup. He's all over the place. This kid's going places, man. You're going to love this, and you're going to see who his inspiration is before the race starts. You're going to love this whole interview. So enjoy my episode with Eddie O'Shea.
You look like you've got this big fancy setup. Look at that.
I'm fancy, Eddie. I'm fancy, baby. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hey, it's BT with Tales from a Gemini. Happy 2024, man. It's my first one out the gate. And isn't that right, Wyatt? First one out the gate in 2024. And I couldn't wait to get this guy on. I had a buddy of mine saying, you got to get Eddie O'Shea on. I said, I'm going to get Eddie O'Shea on. I was going to ask you how your Christmas was, but it went wonderful. You had a pre-Christmas present in that you signed with Vision Track, didn't you?
Yeah. I managed to sign for the Michael Laverty Academy, which is now sort of merged with my old team, which was the British Talent team. So, yeah, it was a great early Christmas present, I suppose. Yeah.
And now you're going to be with Josh Watley and Scott Ogden.
Yeah. So they race in the Moto3 World Championship for Michael. And unfortunately, I'm not old enough. I'd like to think I could have got a seat in the Moto3 team if I was of age, but I've just turned 17, so I've got to wait another year until I can be in the World Championship. But yeah, I'll be in the same team as them, just in the European Championship instead of the World Championships.
Look at you, man! Big boy is moving up, brother. I'm happy for you, man. How was your holidays? What'd you do for holidays? What'd you do?
Christmas Day, I spent a bit of time with the family, and then Boxing Day, I drove down south in the UK. It's Bournemouth, and I live in the Midlands. It was a big drive, but I just passed my driving test like a week before, so
yes.
So I did a big drive and went to go see my girlfriend on Boxing Day.
Look at you, got a girlfriend? She lives down south?
Well, she's got a lot of family down south. She lives in the Midlands near me, but yeah, she lives down south. Well, her family lives down south.
Well, didn't you get a new car?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I was in the first few days. I was driving my sister's car. My sister's got an Audi A1. She just got it. But she can't drive yet. So she's got this brand new car that she can't drive. So when I passed, I got insured on it for a few days. But I have a terrible car. It's a 2007 Renault Kangoo, but it fits bikes perfectly in it. It's terrible. It's like the worst car in the world, but I love it.
Well, you're supposed to. When you're 17, you're supposed to have a beater, and that way it's gonna make you appreciate having a good car. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
good. I'm happy for you, brother. Good for you, man. So, did you put on any weight during the holidays? Did you eat too much?
No. I've stayed the same since the last race till now. I've not gained I've not gained a kilo, not lost a kilo. I've been the same.
Good for you, man. Are you ready? Are you excited for the season?
I am. I'm very excited to get underway, and I think it should be a great season going forward. You know, it's my fourth season in the European Championship, so I'm hoping to fight for the championship, especially with Michael's team. You know, it's a World Championship team, and I'm on the ex-World Championship bikes, so I don't see why I shouldn't be fighting for the championship, and then hopefully move up to the Moto3 World Championship when I'm 18.
Well, you know, Eddie, I know your birthday's in September. It means you're a Libra, and so one of your strong points as a Libra is supposed to be fascinating and intelligent. So, are you fascinating and intelligent?
I'd like to think I'm either one of the two. You know, I'll take one. They both sound very a compliment really. So I'll take it. I'm not sure if it's true, but we'll go with it. We'll definitely go with it. Intelligent sounds iffy, but
What do you think your strong point is? As off the bike, just a regular person, what do you think your strong point is as a person?
Well, to be fair, I think if you come across any motorcycle racers, they come across. We're all quite young, but we're all quite mature for our age. I don't know. Not mature as in like sensible, because no motorcycle racer is sensible. But I don't know. I've always managed to get along with adults, and even when I was a kid, and leading up to even now, when I can't believe I'm an adult in September. So it's crazy to think, but yeah. So probably mature, and yeah, that's about it.
Now, one of your weaknesses as a Libra is supposed to be you're highly indecisive. Would you say that?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That definitely rings a bell. Um,
What are you
I'm
indecisive
always
about?
everything, literally everything that you could possibly think of. It's from I just ordered loads of cycling gear because when I was in Spain, I was training with a guy called Harrison de Soy, who is a British a guy that rides in Britain,
Yeah.
and he looked full factory. You know, he had the coolest cycling gear, and I was like, I got to get me some of that. So I'm going to Spain tomorrow to go on a cycling trip, and I ordered loads of cycling gear, and I could not choose what color to get, and they ended up just getting a bunch of every different color.
That's great, man. I love to hear. That's just straight being a kid, man. I love that.
Yeah,
You know what?
uh,
Me and you are alike in the sense of I think we're the only ones that enjoy Valencia. I love
yeah,
Valencia.
yeah. I like Valencia. I managed to do the test. I managed to do the
what, what
Sorry,
was
that was
that?
my Apple Watch. My Siri was going off. Yeah, Valencia is yeah. I've always enjoyed it. It was my first track that I ever ridden abroad in 2019 with the British Talent Cup as a test, and then my last time there, I went to the World Championship test with Michael Laverty because both Josh Watley and Scott Ogden were injured. So they brought me in as a replacement rider, and I managed to finish out the top 15. And yeah, it went well. It went amazingly, to be fair.
I thought that was great. I was in Valencia when that happened. Actually, I mean, it was hard to believe that both riders went out. I love them both. I'm not gonna lie. Josh Watley scares the shit out of me. I don't know why. He always looks at me like I owe him money, and he's just like he frightens me. Of all the riders in the paddock, it goes probably when Ian Noni was there and Josh Watley. Josh Watley just has a look like I don't want to fuck with that guy. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm quite close to Josh. I always have been quite close to Josh.
Yeah.
Even when we were a kid, he always used to, pick every little thing, and he's always been the most brutal little kid. You couldn't have done anything right to him. He was always this brutal little guy. But yeah, we're similar ages, so I grew up racing with him. He was always a bit faster than me. But yeah, he is. Once you get to know him, he's like the most sound, sweet kid. But
Yeah, whatever, man.
no,
Every time I see him, I think this kid wants to whoop my ass. Every time I see him, he just has a frown on his face. I don't know if it's something I do to him or what, but he's always like,
it's quite common that people think that he's got this like resting face of like angry, but once you talk to him, you can have a laugh with him, and yeah, he's a nice guy.
yeah, it's a resting bitch face. It's just around me. I think it's something I do to him. I guess I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So yeah. So man, then like now, do you pinch yourself now to like where you're at now, considering where you started, and especially after the injury? I mean, do you really look at yourself like, wow, I'm making the strides, I'm making those moves?
Yeah, definitely. After my injury, I had 11 months without a race. So my before the injury, my last race was June 2022, and then I went into April. No, yeah, around the June time again. That was my next race in 2023, and
Wow.
going into the first race, the plan was to just finish the race, just
Yeah.
to get through and hopefully have no pain. And it was crazy. I finished ninth. I qualified 15th, and I finished ninth.
Wow.
But that it was like ninth should not have been a good result for my third year. But I came in. I did after the checker flag. I just cried instantly as soon as I seen the checker flag, and I came into the pits and everyone was clapping. Like all my team was clapping, and I was crying, and it was amazing. It wasn't a great race to finish ninth, but it was such a rewarding race. To be back racing, and I've always dreaded going out on an injury, but it actually came very, very close. And so yeah, I suppose 2023 was already a write off because I missed the first two rounds, um, but I just had to enjoy it and try and get myself a job for the next year.
Yeah.
And I managed to secure, a few good finishes, two fourths, and then yeah, managed to sign with Michael for next year, which is a massive, massive deal.
Man, you know what? I remember hearing about the injury, and I was like, this kid's going through it, but I didn't know exactly how it happened and what had happened. I would hear, Matt talk about it and like, the injury, and I was like, man, this poor kid. So what exactly happened and where did it happen?
So it's known that it's known that I did it on a mountain bike. I got I had a mountain bike crash and basically the handlebar went into my groin and crushed 3.5 centimeters of my femoral artery. So I
Oh,
basically had no blood flow in my left leg, and it was a bit like cramp, but like way worse than cramp. It's the closest pain I can think of. Like, have you ever woke up in the middle of the night with just like the most intense like calf cramp or something? It
yes.
was like that, but like always, and it was so painful. Um, and then, but basically, I was just messing around in England. I was at Brands Hatch at a BSB round, going to watch all my friends and my sister's boyfriend racing British Superbikes. So I just went to go and watch some racing. And one of my closest mates, I was riding off, and my mates chased me and kicked the back wheel of the mountain bike, and then it like high side, and then I like landed on the handlebar, and yeah,
Oh,
crushed a lot of my artery.
and so and did after that you had complication after complication, right?
Yeah, I ended up having 5 surgeries in total in 10 months, and it was all under the NHS, so I didn't have to pay for anything. Like the NHS is it was incredible. I went into the doctors and well to the hospital in England, and I was like, "You need to sort me out," and they did. I had my boss, Alberto Puig, who is Repsol Honda team manager.
Yeah.
He was messaging me and calling me, asking if I wanted to fly out to America to go and get treatment out there. But I got very good treatment in the UK. Having 10 been in 10 months having 5 surgeries with the NHS is like unheard of.
Now
And
what's the NHS? What's the NHS?
the NHS is the national healthcare system in England. So basically, we don't because in America you have to pay for everything that happens in
Yeah,
hospital now.
yeah. You ain't got to remind us. Yeah, we know. We know.
Yeah, and we
We
don't
have a
have
shitty healthcare
insurance.
system.
We don't have like health insurance. We just go into the hospital and we don't have to pay anything. We just say what we have a problem with, and but we pay a lot of tax. I don't really know. We pay a lot of tax, and a bit goes to the NHS. That's all I know. And yeah, so I went into the hospital, not private healthcare, so I didn't have to pay for anything. And I said I've got this, and usually it's like well you have to wait 3 years on this waiting list, and then but they originally they weren't that concerned, but then um once people start to understand that I raced for Red Bull, I raced for Dorna, like it was a big deal that this is my job basically, and it I need to be fixed. So there was this one doctor who used to be a private healthcare doctor. Um, he found my number on the system or something. I don't really know.
Yeah.
And then he sent me a message after my first ultrasound. They put an ultrasound on my artery to see what the problem was. And he messaged me saying, we've got to get you sorted. Come in and see me tomorrow. So I went in and seen him, and he was like, we've got to get you sorted. And it was like, but it's unheard of. No one has ever crushed their femoral artery. It's like, they had to open a case study for me in case it happened to anyone else. And basically I've got a massive scar on my right calf here
Let me see.
from, wait, hold on. Can you see it?
I can't. Oh, okay, a little bit. Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Damn, you're Frankenstein.
That's they took a vein from my right calf and they put it in my left groin. So they took my biggest vein they could find and they took out the no, sorry, they took the vein of like the good part of the artery and then the crushed part here. They basically put my vein and attached it to this artery here and like put a tube basically into the lower part of the artery. That didn't work, and then because it was too small, and then they ended up in the fifth and final surgery. They ended up putting a cow pulmonary vein in replacement of my artery. So yeah,
So you got a cow. You got a part of a cow in you.
yeah, and in memory, I got a tattoo. I got a cow tattoo.
Do you feel like a cow sometimes? Do you feel like a
Yeah,
cow?
I wake up sometimes mooing, and I wake myself up just like a moo.
No, you no, you don't. So maybe you go slow. It's the cow. It's the cow in you.
Yeah, exactly. I just weigh too much, or I don't really know.
You know, I saw that on your social media. It was you and Dominica, and you were comparing tattoos. And I was wondering what that cow was, but oh,
Yeah.
that's a great story, bro.
Well, it's a dual meaning tattoo. It's partly for my granddad and partly because I'm part cow.
I think that's hilarious. That's fun, but I mean, but when it was happening, it had to be nerve wracking when it was
Oh,
actually happening.
it was terrible. It was. I used to. I go to the gym 6 days a week,
Yeah.
whether it's cycling or CrossFit or whatever. I didn't go to the gym that whole time. Like that, like the 11 months, I probably did 7 months straight without going to the gym. Just because I was scared, not scared to go to the gym, but basically when I walked, it didn't hurt. But every time I did a little bit of exercise, I'd just have this like agony in my leg. And it'd just be like a constant reminder like of how much like pain I was in and
Yeah.
how I actually could stop racing. And
Did did it affect? I mean, but the thought of you not racing, did that scare you?
yeah,
When
oh,
it what?
it was terrible. But the thing is, my last race before the injury, I got a podium. So I think that saved me because if I didn't have that podium, then I might not got signed for 2023.
Yeah.
And then I probably would have ended up back in Britain, having to pay for my rides and try and work my way back up the ladder again. But yeah, it was terrifying. Like, because I had 5 surgeries, after every single one, I had to learn to walk again. So I'd like learn to walk. I'd go to the gym one time to cycle to see how, my leg was feeling. And then if it was still feeling bad, I'd cry for another 3 months until my next surgery. And then I'd learn to walk again. And then, so yeah,
Wow.
it was terrible.
When you getting that close to almost having to give up on the dream, I mean, how many restless nights did you have? I mean, did you think like it could be over?
Yeah, I thought it was over. Like I actually thought because even the doctors, I have a voice note, and it's never been played on any sort of anywhere really. But it's a top doctor of the NHS, and he's basically saying this kid is 99% knackered, like finished. There's no way he returns to elite sport ever again. And I got sent to my dad, and my dad never showed me until I was fixed, and then it was crazy. But I'm happy he didn't show me. But I always kept quite positive, I
Yeah.
always thought there was some hope. And then that last surgery was like I couldn't believe it. I woke up from the surgery, and I had my dad and my doctor and everyone around me, and they were just saying, how does your leg feel?" And I was like, "It feels incredibly warm, and like it felt like, do you know when?" Like if you squeeze your arm, then your hand gets like really like pumped. It
Yeah.
felt like that. It felt like there was so much blood in my foot, and it felt like really hot. And I said, it feels incredible. And then the doctors were like, yeah, your pulse feels incredible. And I was like, I walked the next day just because I was so excited to. Usually it took me 4 days to start walking again without crutches or a Zimmer frame,
Yeah.
and I learned to walk 2 days later just because I wanted to get back in the gym to start cycling to see if I could, do exercise again on my leg. And it was like the best day of my life. By far, that was the best day of my life when I did that cycle, and
Oh
it
man.
was fine.
Man, there's nothing scarier than almost having to give up on the dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
so now, I mean, it's amazing now. You've done a 180 now, and things are so much better for you in life. Like leading up to that point, when you first started, I think you were like 3 or whatever. Like, what was the goal then? When you were just a kid, like, and get your first motorcycle, you just what was your first goal?
I mean, as a kid, you weren't thinking about being MotoGP world champion. You were just thinking about beating the kid that was in front of you. You
Yeah,
were just all you cared about was being the best kid because
yeah,
as a kid, everyone was mates, and I was mates with the fastest, and the fastest was mates with the slowest. So all you wanted to do was just be the fastest
yeah,
out of the kids, and then once you're the fastest out of the kids, you want to be the fastest teenager. Then when you're the fastest teenager, you want to go to Rebel Rookies, and then when you're in the Rebel Rookies, you want to be MotoGP World Champion. So yeah, it's just a ladder, really.
When did you realize you had a little bit of something different or something special? Like when did it dawn on you? You go, you know what? I think I got something a little bit more than these guys, just maybe naturally, or just like, or maybe goal setting, or just your determination. When did you realize you were different?
So in 29, no, in 2018, I was in Cool Fab Racing, which is like the grassroots of England, on a metric at 50, and I finished third in the championship. And then in the August of 2018, I went to the British Talent Cup selection event, and that was ran by Dorna at the time. And that it was the best. It's the best UK riders, the top 20 UK riders from 12 to 24, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the selection event. I actually went to the selection event to get a feel of the bike, so that the next year in the selection event, I would have more chance of getting selected to go to the British Talent Cup. And I got there, and in my first session, I was one of the fastest. I was like top 3 in the selection event, and I was this 12-year-old kid. I weighed 29 kilo, which is like insanely light, and I couldn't put it. I had to fill out the application, but it didn't let me put 29 kilo because it said put your weight in kilo. They thought it was too light. So then I had to put 35 kilo and then tell them I wasn't really 35 kilo. Anyway, so I was this tiny little 12-year-old, 11. I was 11 at the time. Tiny little 11-year-old kid riding these CBR 250s with the best kids in England, well, in the UK. And yeah, I got through to the final round. And then, because it was like a process of elimination, and I just kept riding, and I was really fast. And then Alberto Puig came up to me and he was like, so how many years have you been riding big bikes? I said, this is my first day on a big bike. And he was like, oh, no way. And then and then I finally got selected, and then I went to the test in Valencia, and I went 7th in my first session. And he came up to me and he was like, so how many days have you done on this bike? I was like, this is my first day on this bike too. He was like, there's no way. And
Yeah.
he couldn't actually believe it was my first day on them bikes. And I ended up finishing that test 9th, but then I had no weight on the bike. And then in the first round, they put loads of weight on the bike, so it equaled out. But then I just kept crashing because they put 12 kilo of lead in the front of the bike.
Okay.
So every time I braked, the front just tucked every time, just because it was so difficult to ride.
Yeah.
And then so probably the selection event of British Talent Cup was where I realized maybe I could make it as a professional.
Having Alberto Puig come to, I mean, would that just blow your mind? I mean,
It was crazy because I've watched this guy my whole life. I was only 11, so the only 11 years I've been living, I've been watching this guy on telly as Mark Marquez's team manager.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
Man, that's another guy. I think people take him the wrong way. I don't think he comes off brash, but I think he's a little bit better person than people give him credit for.
Yeah, he's an amazing coach. Like, I've been cycling and flat track and motocross with him. And when he cycles, he puts his bike in like the lowest gear and just like spins his legs so fast. And he just goes. He's like this, and then because he dropped me for dust. It was my first year in Rebel Rookies, and he dropped me for dust and he was like, what are you doing? You need to train harder. He's like David Goggins of motorsport. He's incredible.
Yeah.
He comes across as a very, a negative person, but he's not. He just wants the best for everything he does.
Yeah, I heard him. I think it was Matt that interviewed him, whatever. And I heard him, and I go, man, this guy's different than he comes off. He comes off brash. If you don't know him, you think this guy's kind of an asshole. But I've never talked to him. But I always say I think he's a little bit different than people give him credit for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. He's an amazing guy.
So, okay, now, so for you, do you think do you want to be, or do you think you're going to be the next wave of maybe getting the Brits back? I mean, because now you got Jake there. Jake Dixon's doing well in Moto 2. He's got to be up for the championship next year probably, or this year coming up. and you got Rory. Oh, well, Rory did get dropped, but, you know, we got Rory up there. And so do you want to be part of the next wave of new British talent coming up?
Yeah, I don't see why not. You know, the plan is to win Junior GP this year, or if not, come top five would be good. And yeah, hopefully make the step with Michael Laverty in the World Championship in Moto3 and prove myself there, and hopefully get myself a Moto2 seat. You know, I don't see it going wrong. You know, I feel like if you actually believe you can just do it, just go through the route, then like I've always believed I could be in Rebel Rookies. It's like it whatever I believe, it just happens. So, you know, I'm looking forward to proving myself this year and hopefully fighting at the front a lot more, and then yeah, make the step in the World Championship. So I believe I am you know, one of the at the minute it's me and Casey O'Gorman, you know, in Junior GP. So I feel like we're the next wave. But then my sister's boyfriend is Max Cook. Do you know Max Cook is
I know
British
Max
Superbike
Cook.
rider?
Yeah, I know of Max Cook. Yes.
Yeah. He's incredible. I think he's one of the best riders. You know, he was fighting with Pedro Acosta in Junior GP, and then he got dropped from Junior GP, and then he went back to BSP. So I feel like if he can make the step to Moto2 or MotoGP, if you know, or World Superbike, then I feel like he's, you know, me, Casey, Max. You know, I feel like we've got a lot of good talent coming through.
Now, what did you finish in Red Bull Rookies Cup? What place did you finish?
So I'm in rookies. I missed the first 3 rounds this year,
right? And
I think I finished like 22nd. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But in Red Bull Rookies, I did the Portimao test in the start of 2023, and that's when my leg was still bad. That was my fourth operation when I went there, and it was still bad. And I remember, I probably shouldn't be openly saying this, but before a session, I took 9 paracetamol because my leg was in so much pain. And I said, Dad, where are the paracetamol? And I just had like the rest of the sachet that was left, just because I was in so much pain. I wanted to go through with it. And I was doing well. I think I was in 3rd in the test, and then I had this crash, and it was a bit of a weird crash. Someone tagged me, and then we both sort of went down, and then the bikes like tumbled in the gravel. It was like no hard feelings, but we both got up and went back to the pits, and then we went back out. Oh no, I didn't get back out, sorry, because I put a hole in my arm here. So I took the next session off and then went back the next day. And the bike didn't feel great. And then for the rest of the season, I've been complaining about this chatter. Like the front's been like shaking so bad. I'll have to send you a video. I've got a video of just the bike just like actually just shaking.
Yeah.
And we spent the whole season trying to figure out what it was. And then in the last race, I had that much chatter. The chain kept like jumping off the sprocket. Like it was shaking the bike that hard. The chain kept jumping off. So I said, I'm not riding that bike. Let me ride the spare bike. So they finally let me ride the spare bike. And then I went from 18th or something on the grid. And then I was in 8th fighting at the front again. And then the clutch snapped. So I had literally no luck this year. And then they ended up finding out that the swing arm, the swing arm, like the metal that connects the rear wheel on, was bent. So
that's on them. That's their fault. They should have found that out.
It is. But also, my dad was the helper mechanic. I was the rider. You know, it wasn't their fault. I can't put the blame on them. You know, it's just one of them things that happens.
You can't blame Dad, but Dad, it was your fault. I'm trying to tell you, Dad, it was your fault. You didn't inspect the bike better, Daddy. Your dad kept you from a championship.
Yeah,
you should have fired your dad. You should have fired your dad.
You know? Well, but you know, I'm missing the first 3 rounds anyway. It was like there was no chance that I'd even fight for the championship. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my last year, and no hard feelings.
Who was the one that impressed you the most where you went, holy shit, this guy's got talent?
You'd be wrong to not say Angel Pegueras. You know,
that dude, to me, maybe I'm wrong. I'm watching from a different point of view than you are, but I'm watching like, this kid's a fucking animal. Yeah. I mean, I was really impressed by him.
He won 9 of 14 races, didn't he? Which is like, it's the most ever wins in a season in Rebel Rookies.
Yeah, he beat Acosta's record.
Yeah, Costa was 8. Yeah,
Yeah, this kid. I
but
mean, so you saw it up close in person. So what was it like?
it was just he was just so perfect. Like he hits every apex perfectly. I don't get it how he does everything so actually perfect, and his overtakes are so clean. And but to be fair, if the person I expected Angel to win the championship, but I didn't expect him to win it in such dominance. But the person who surprised me most was Alvaro Carpe. He came into this season as like a no one had even heard of him. He didn't score a point in 2022 in Junior GP. He got selected for Rubber Rookies and then came into the first race and started fighting straight at the front and finished second in the championship. So I'm quite close to Carpe and we're good friends. So, but yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how fast he was.
What was your? And I asked Sean Dillon Kelly this, and I always love his answer. What was your biggest? And it could be Red Bull rookies, could be whatever. But what's your biggest oh shit moment where you're like either somebody passed you, or you almost had the biggest crash of your life, or just what's your biggest oh shit, I am definitely with the big boys now.
Uh, I went from British Talent Cup fight, and I know I didn't win a race in British Talent Cup. Okay, I actually crossed the line first one time, but I didn't actually win it because it got red flagged and went back a lap.
Yeah.
So I went from being like second, third place in British Talent Cup to then racing with Danny Holgado, David Alonso, David Munoz, Ortola. You name anyone that's in the top of the title fight for Moto 3. I raced with them in 2021. Colin Vaya. It was all, I went in and these guys were just insane. Like I did the test and I got overtaken by Diogo Moreira in Portimao and he was sideways. Like he went in and just went boom. He was a rookie too in Rebel Rookies. It was mine
Yeah.
in his first year.
Yeah.
And he went in and just went boom. Literally bolt sideways. And I was like, oh my God, if this is what I've got to compete with. But you learn fast, when you're chucked in the deep end, you have to learn really, don't you?
So it was Diego Moreira in Portimao doing it sideways. You're like,
Yeah.
this is what I
It
got
was
to
like,
do.
this isn't going to end well.
Okay, so what? I hear about the red mist and everything. You seem like a nice guy, but once the helmet comes on, everybody's different. So, what's your biggest red mist moment? Now, is it when RB Artatama wiped you out in the gravel trap?
Oh my God, I was just trying to think about something, but that is exactly it. Yeah.
And what did
I
you
couldn't
say to
believe
him?
it.
What did you say to him in the gravel trap when he did
Well,
it?
there's actually a very funny story behind that. Obviously, you guys don't see what goes on in the changing rooms of Rebel Rookies, but
Yeah.
we were having this massive group conversation, literally as we were all getting changed to go out in that race, and we were all saying who's the most dangerous rider. And there was a few people saying Luca Lanetta, there was a few Filippo Fariolis, there was a few Holgados, and then I said, Arby, Adatama. And Arby turned around to me and said, What do you mean me? Surely it's Lanetta or... And I said, no, it's you. 100% it's you. I said, Filippo and Luca, they're both aggressive, but not dangerous. The question was who's the most dangerous. You're the most dangerous. And I led... So in that race, Rueda cleared off. He was gone. And it was basically a dogfight for second. And I was second the majority of that race. Literally just led the group. And I felt so good in that race. And I was just second. And then one time, Arby made a bit of a dirty overtake on me. And I was like, I can't believe this guy is here. I was like, out of everyone that's here in this group, I can't believe it's Arby Adatama. And yeah, so then we went into the last lap and I knew someone was going to overtake me on the inside. And it was Lanetta. So Lanetta's done a bit of a dirty overtake on me and I've sat up and then I've just gone, boom. I've gone flying. I've had a bike hit me in the face and I've gone rolling through the gravel trap. And I went, if that is RB, I'm going to lose it. Like that's what I'm thinking in my head. And I've not even stopped rolling. I've got up and I've looked up and I've seen this yellow helmet. And at first I thought it was Filippo. And I started walking over to Filippo. And then the mist sort of died down, like the dust died down. And I seen his little Indonesian flag on his arm. And I was like, I can't believe it. And I went up to him and I was like, I effing told you so. You're so dangerous. You shouldn't be allowed on the bike. But the thing is, we're roommates because he's my teammate in Junior GP. We're roommates. Like we share the same hotel room. And on HJC helmets, they close and then they lock.
Yeah.
So I went up to him, unlocked his helmet, and then tried to open his visor, but I didn't. I went up to him, locked his visor because he didn't lock his visor. So I went up to him, grabbed him by his helmet, locked it, started like shaking his head. So on camera, it looks like I'm like just shaking his head. But then I finally opened his visor and I grab him by his helmet and I'm like, I told you, I effing told you so. And we made up very shortly after, but I just couldn't believe it because I told him that
You told
he's
him
a
before the
dangerous
race.
rider,
You
and then he
told-
cleaned me out. But yeah,
You told him before the race you're the most dangerous. That
Yeah.
to me is incredible because I've been there. I was in the Red Bull rookies tent in Valencia last year, not this year, but last year, and I see how you guys get down, and it amazes me how you guys are so cool with each other, and then race start, it's like a free for all. You got it's like a street fight, and
Yeah,
then it's
but-
over, and it's like okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
yeah. But like everyone's so close friends in there. Like everyone, I don't think there's anyone that actually like there's like enemies. Everyone actually likes each other, and we go out, we have fun. They're only slow bikes, so we just have fun. We overtake each other, we hit each other, we crash into each other. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So that
I love that, man. I really do. That to me is I think that's almost a metaphor of what the world should be like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like everybody's cool, but then it's time to get down, and you do what you got to do, and then it's like it's over. Like okay, boom, we're friends. Let's go
Yeah.
out and do whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
God,
I agree. It's an amazing experience to be part of, 100%.
So was that your biggest red mist moment?
Oh, definitely. Because I was second like the whole race, and every time someone overtook me, I overtook them the next corner. I was on it. I felt perfect that whole race, and then I got taken out. So
Now, is there a strategy in Red Bull? Because watching Red Bull Rookies Cup and watching Moto 3, I'm like, is there a strategy or you just get in where you fit in and try to stay in the top 3 or 4?
yeah, you just try and stay at the front of the group. Try not to get overtaken. I mean, the number one rule is overtake or be overtaken. You know, so every time you go into a corner, you either got to try and make an overtake, and if it's not successful, at least you've gone on the inside to block off the person behind you. So the last lap is crazy. If you've not got the obvious outright pace to go, then it's always scary. The chances of being taken out are so high, and I don't know how there's not the last lap crashes every single race, but yeah.
I think it's the greatest race. I mean, of course, you know, MotoGP is MotoGP, and we love watching it. It's great. Don't get me wrong, but man, when you want some excitement, there's nothing better to watch than Moto 3. And you guys don't get the credit you deserve because Red Bull Rookies Cup I think Red Bull Rookies Cup should race the same day before Moto 3. I think it should go Red Bull Rookies Cup, then Moto 3, then Moto 2, then MotoGP, because you guys put a damn good show on, man.
Yeah, it's definitely like I'll watch Rebel Rookies just because it's amazing racing. But it's the same with Formula One. I watched a Formula Two race a couple of months ago, and Formula Two is way better than Formula One. There's so many more overtakes. There's like mistakes in the pit lane. It's so much more entertaining to watch. But obviously, MotoGP and Formula One have the prestige.
When's the last time you've been scared, like actually scared riding, like where you were like, oh shit?
In late November, I went to Jerez. So I did the Moto3 World Championship test in Valencia, and then so I finished that at around 5 p.m. and then I got in a van and drove down to Jerez, and like Valencia's like here in Spain, and Jerez down here. It was like an 8-hour drive, and we slept through the night, and I slept in the van, and I woke up, and then I went to Jerez. And I got straight on a CBR 1000. I'd never rode. I did 6 laps on a 600 in 2021. And then I got on a Fireblade, a CBR 1000. And I couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't actually believe people ride these bikes. And like MotoGP is like 2 of them combined. I couldn't believe how fast it was.
Was it the power? Was it with the stopping? Because I heard the stopping is incredible.
Yeah. So the first time I was like, Jesus, was Jerez. Do you know that corner where it's turn 3 where Marquez had that big crash and broke his arm?
Yes.
And then after that is turn 4, the next fast left. And on a Moto3, you go in and you go on the limiter, you go "Rrrr," and then roll off, a little bit of rear brake, and then straight back on full throttle. Well, I went in on the Fireblade, went oh, and braked, and then like went in, and then went and then opened it up. And as I've opened it up, the rear's just gone like just like sliding. I had full traction control on, but the rear was like sliding, and the blade was screaming, and I just couldn't believe how fast I went from like 30 to like 100. It was mental. I actually couldn't believe it. And then I went down the straight, full throttle, but down the straight's fine because once you're tucked in, you feel like you feel fine.
Yeah.
And then I braked about 100 meters before what I do on a Moto3, and I've braked, and as I've sat up, the wind hit my face, and it felt like my helmet went from like here to like hitting my nose, and I could feel my suit here like hitting me. And it was like I couldn't see straight. I was trying so hard to focus on turn 6. And I was going in like, and then the bike just stopped. Like I couldn't believe how fast it stopped. In the end of the test, I ended up braking like 30 meters before what I do on my Moto3. Like I couldn't believe how strong the brake was. But I finally ended up getting used to my helmet coming back, like not being able to see. But on Moto3, when you ride him, if you look at the corner, you can just like throw the bike there because they're so light. You just like they're so nimble. And I've gone into turn 1 at Jerez, and I've looked at the corner, and the bike's just gone. I'm trying to turn.
You're doing the Cam Newton. You're doing the Cam Newton.
I'm trying to like. I'm just like that on the other side of the bike, trying to pull it down. It was so funny. But yeah, anyone that says motorcycle racing isn't a sport, or like you don't have to be fit, Jesus, I couldn't believe how much hassle it was to rag round a Fireblade for 20 minutes. It was
did it give you inspiration though to move up? I mean, did it give you more like the carrot dangling in front of you? Like that's my inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed it a lot. Well, when I fly out to Spain tomorrow, I'm gonna go to I've got this sponsor who has a house in Malaga, and I'm gonna unpack and then drive straight to Jerez to do more training on the 1,000 again. So I'm hoping my body is still used to it and not just like reset its clocks. And when I get back on it, I'll be amazed again. But yeah, I am looking forward to it.
Man, good for you, man. Sounds like life is hitting you great, man. I mean that, dude. I'm happy for you, brother. I mean
Thank
that,
you.
man. Especially for all you went through, and now it's like you're on the other side. I always say if you just ride that storm out, man. Just hold on, like the bad eventually will. You just gotta be like, okay, you gotta weather that storm and weather it, and then, and look where you are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I actually believe, like I actually believe it, but it's not something I grew up like being taught to believe. But I actually believe everything happens for a reason. Like everything in my life that's been bad has turned out to be good. Like
yes,
literally everything. And like my injury, how can that possibly be a good thing? That was a bad thing. But now I got a lot of motivation to like I actually want to be a professional motorcycle racer, because in that time I also got a job working for the NHS, and I was cleaning dirty hospital beds. And it was like £10 an hour, and I had to wake up at 5, get on my moped, my scooter, go like a 50-minute journey in the freeze. I've got a video of me, like my coat is frozen, my hands are like blue, and I went every day to go and clean these dirty hospital beds. And then I just quit. I quit that job because I was so like down about not being able to race, and then also thinking that I actually might be cleaning hospital beds for the rest of my life. So I just quit, and I focused on, getting myself better. And I've now got like so much motivation, and I actually do want to be a motorcycle racer. And, I train as hard as I can all the time now, just to make sure that I don't regret anything in the future that I didn't try hard enough.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. And having the clairvoyance to see that, like people think, oh, woe is me. But if you look at, okay, how is this helping me be better? You know what I mean? How did you come to that realization in life? Like, I mean, just through trial and error, like how did you get to that point where you're at now, where you go, people, stuff that happens bad eventually becomes good?
Well, my grandma, she always told me as a kid, anything that went bad. I don't know whether she told me it just to try and cheer me up, but she always used to say, "Well, I'd remember everything happens for a reason." And then everything that was bad, I'd just have in my head. If I'd have in my head that it was bad, I think it's okay because it will come good. And then because I grew up with it as a kid, it's hard to leave something that you grew up with as a kid, you know. So everything that's happened that's gone bad, I've just thought, well, something good will come of it.
No, I love that, man, because it's all about the mental and everything. Actually, it's all about the mental. Granted, you need the physical, especially what you do, but it's the mental that gets you through.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, definitely. I've always believed that I can, you know, be fighting at the front in the Junior World Championship. I've always believed I could be a Rebel Rookie. I've always believed I'll get to minimum Moto3. And whether I don't make it to MotoGP or even if I come back to BSB, I still genuinely believe I can be a professional motorcycle racer.
But it is the MotoGP path though that you really
Oh yeah,
wanted it.
definitely. I don't want to say I believe I can get there because that's like it's you know, it's like a kid saying they want to be a professional footballer. It's like, oh.
Well, you got to put it out there though, man. If you put it out there, sometimes I know everybody tries to be, be humble, but sometimes you got to put it out there, and you never know. You throw it out to. I'm a firm believer. You throw it out to the universe. The universe hears everything. I'm a firm believer. The universe hears everything,
Yeah.
and then it's up to you to do the work to put it in. But then you get there. Maybe the path is diverted, but you come back. But you eventually get there. But you got to throw it out there. So there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot.
Who do you think is the best British rider that is not in BSB or MotoGP or World Superbike? The best British rider that's not in GP, BSB, or WSBK.
Me.
You? You know what's funny? I wrote that down and I thought this is kind of a cocky thing to answer. That's why I reworded it. But I wanted you to say that.
I'm trying to think of another British rider that doesn't race. Well, it's me and Casey. But
Okay.
I'm not saying Casey's better than me. No way.
I wrote that down this way. I wanted you to say that.
What other championships is there? Well, I'm trying to.
Well, but that's why I threw it out there. Because, I mean, like I said, it's going to be the lower divisions. I mean, no offense, but, it's going to be the younger guys coming up. And I wanted to go, I wonder if he'll say that he's the best British rider.
When you say MotoGP, does that include Moto2 and Moto3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then yeah.
Yeah,
me.
Yeah, the whole path of MotoGP. Yeah, so those guys don't count. It had to be basically where you're at. So I wanted to see what you'd say.
Yeah, well, me or Casey, and I'm not saying Casey. Casey's not better than me.
I hope he sees this. I really do.
Me and Casey are very, very, very close.
I love all the British riders. All the British riders are so nice to me, and they come on here, and we have a great time. I mean that. You guys always treat me so good when I'm over there. Like, I see Scott, and I think I asked Scott to be on kinda, not really, but kinda. And so I'm kind of wanting him to come on, but I don't know if he wants to. I don't want to, bug him about it. And I actually would like to have Josh on here just to say, all right, are you mad at me, motherfucker, or are we friends or whatever? You know what I mean?
I don't know if he'd do it. I think you'd have to pay him. I think you'd only do it if you paid him. He's like the most just neutral guy. He's like, do I have to?
Okay, so tell me the race day preparation. Okay, you're on the grid, race going to start. How do you get ready mentally? What do you listen to music, or you want to be left alone? But are you jokey? Because everybody gets down different. How do you do it? You're on your race day preparation from the moment you get up to the moment you get on the grid. How do you prepare yourself mentally?
When I wake up, I don't do anything different to what I'd normally do. Every motorbike rider is very superstitious. If you find a motorbike rider that hasn't got a superstition, like mine is put my right boot on before my left boot and my right glove and then my left glove. It's right boot, right glove, left glove. But every racer has one. Like, some people will have earplugs. Like, if I do well in a race, I'll keep the same earplugs, which is kind of disgusting. But like Max, if he does well in a race, he'll change his earplugs because the ones he was using, the look has ran out. Yeah. So everyone has like a superstitions, and like one of them is if I don't have a shower in the morning, I'll crash. So I have to wake up, have a shower. I don't do anything different. Talk to my teammates, talk to my team, go through a bit of data, and then as it's getting to like an hour before the race, you start to put your undersuit on, put your suit on. You start to like get a bit more serious. And then when you're in the box, I listen to music when I'm in the box.
What do you listen to? What do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of 50 Cent.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
What song is about 50? What song is
Well,
about 50?
my favorite song by 50 before a race is it's called You Not Like Me. And yeah, that's my go-to song before a race. He talks about one of his lyrics is got shot in the jaw, didn't wait for docs to get it out, hit my wisdom tooth and spit it out. So yeah, I mean it's one of his most like aggressive songs, and I don't know, it gets me just like because 50 Cent, all of his songs are like
Gangster.
yeah. I don't listen to
What
like Best Friends, but it's all like it's more like Many Men and like You Not Like Me and stuff like that.
Or how about if I can't do it, homie, it can be done. Do you listen to that one?
No, I listen to there's an English rapper called Nines. He's very aggressive. It's him and 50 Cent but yeah, I listen to music. When I listen to music, then I put my helmet on and then I can talk to anyone when my visor's up, but when my visor's like I do the same routine every time I get up. I wait for all my teammates to get up. I don't know. I do it. So I have 3 teammates and I have one next to me and 2 that are in front of me.
Yeah.
And I wait for every single one of them to get up and start walking to their bike before I walk to my bike because I feel like it's an early mind game to show them that like I'm chill. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
I've always done it. I don't know. It's just like, oh, you go on, boys. And then I get up and slowly walk over to my bike, and then they're all doing like their stretching. But I did my stretching in the truck, and then I close my visor like that, like with both my fists like a gorilla, and then lock it like that. So I like slam it down, lock it, and then slowly get on my bike, wait for all my teammates to go, and then I go. So it's but then once the visor's down, it's like I don't care if you're my teammate or what. It's
I like
lock in. You have to lock in.
Eddie, I love it, brother. I love it. I love it. Man, listen, we are up against it. We got to get ready to go. But goddamn, Eddie, what a great talk you were. I knew you would be, though. If Matt Dunn gives it the A-OK, I know you're good people, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean
Matt,
that.
Oh, that man.
Yeah.
Me and Matt were like chalk and cheese and
I love it. He's the one that told me, he go, you got to get Eddie O'Shea. I said, okay, I'll get Eddie O'Shea. So he told me to tell you Odie. Ed is Odie O'Shea?
Yeah. No, I call him Dat Mun. So it's like the first 2 letters switched, and he calls me Odie Ishea.
All right, Audie Ishea. Man, it has been a pleasure, Eddie. I look forward to seeing you this year, brother. Hopefully, I don't know if I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm coming to Silverstone or whatever, but I'm definitely gonna watch you race this year. Hopefully, up close in person, man.
Yeah.
It was a great chat, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Well, I intend. There's no talks of it or anything, but when I'm 18, I would really like to do the Valencia wildcard. So I'm gonna push to do that in Moto3. So if you can get there, then I'll. Well, I'm hoping if it happens, news will be announced then.
Valencia, I'm there, Eddie. I'm following you on Instagram, bro. I am there. Yeah, you made a big mistake. I'm your best friend now. I'm almost stalking you. Brother.
Thank you.
So good luck with everything, man. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Have a great 2024. Kick ass, brother.
Thank you
got a
much.
second chance. I mean that. And more 50 Cent for you, okay?
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one. Thanks for watching Tales with Gemini with my great guest, Eddie O'Shea. I'm BT. You know how we say about this time. You know the word. Peace.